Hi everybody, welcome back to Cat on Point. I'm so glad you're here. It is time for a collab video, and this collaboration is hosted by Jenn from Embracing Chaos with Jenn, her channel, and all of the other participating channels are going to be down in the description bar below, so go and check them out. The theme of this collaboration is starting fresh in January. That's exactly where I'm at. It's just what I need. I love it. I needed to use something fresh as far as like vegetables or fruits, and I think we could have used them cooked if we wanted to, but I decided to go with the raw on everything. And so don't be intimidated. That's the one thing I want to tell you is I had never used spring roll wrappers, rice wrappers before, years ago, and then I was really intimidated to use them. But once I started using them, they're so easy, super easy, and you can make them however you want. You can stuff them with all kinds of things, and they're kind of fun too. So, and they're pretty. So what we're doing is we're going to be using fresh herbs and veggies. I even got some fruits in there in the dip. So it's fresh spring rolls with orange almond sauce. And I got the recipe from this book here that I've had for years, The Blender Girl. That's Tess Masters who wrote this, and she's got amazing recipes in here. So I may have changed it just a little bit, because one thing about this recipe that I noticed is that it has a guide as to what to put in there, but really she doesn't tell you, you could put in more of anything or less of anything that goes in there. Now I put everything, as far as Weight Watcher points, I put everything according to the recipe in my tracker, and what I'm coming up with, because this recipe is supposed to make about 16 rolls, is that I think it's coming up with like 2 points per serving, 3 points if you have like a tablespoon of the sauce. And but at the same time, I really think that's kind of like relative to how much you use, you know what I mean? And because you're going to use avocado in it, and so if you're going to use more avocado, of course, if you have a quarter, you're going to have to count 2 points. But if you have less than that, it's really not going to be that. And if you don't put any of it at all, well, that's going to change it too. So I really feel like you could probably have 3 really nice stuffed ones with like 2 tablespoons of sauce and probably still make it under 5 points easy. So a really wonderful recipe to have. Let's get started. I'll show you what's in it. All right, so down to our ingredients, we're going to use some vermicelli noodles. The recipe calls for 5.25 ounces. I'm just using the whole pack here, and then I'll put the leftovers in the fridge. I'm also using a 1/4 cup of tamari or soy sauce, 3 tablespoons of either coconut sugar or something else. I have sucanat sugar here, which is pure cane sugar. Also, we're going to be using 4 large mushrooms. I'm using cremini, and we're going to slice them. I'm using 16 rice paper wrappers. Those are real easy to use. And then 8 large lettuce leaves, preferably soft ones. I'm going to be using butter lettuce. You can use the tops of the remains of green leaf lettuce. That'll work too. 2 large green onions. Either that or you can use some chives. I actually grabbed some chives because I'm going to use a little of those too. And then 2 Persian or Lebanese cucumbers. We're going to julienne those. And then also 1 cup of loosely packed cilantro, a cup of loosely packed mint, and a cup of loosely packed basil as well. So we're going to be using a lot of herbs. 1 large avocado. We're going to pit it, peel it, and we're going to slice it and have that ready. So all of this is what's going in, and we're using 1 carrot. Okay, let's get started. We're going to take some boiling water and just pour it over our vermicelli noodles. We're going to let them sit for about 20 minutes, and that's going to soften them up. And so I'm just going to let them sit here, push them aside, and in a little saucepan, I am going to put my 1/4 cup of tamari or soy sauce and the coconut sugar or the sucanat or the type of sweetener that you want. And I'm just going to mix it up over the heat and let it come to a boil, and then I'm going to keep on stirring it a bit. I'm going to cook it for about 2 to 3 minutes until it thickens a little bit, and then I'm going to throw in the mushrooms, increase the heat to medium, and bring the mixture to a gentle simmer. I'm going to cook it for about 15 minutes. I'm going to stir it often until the mushrooms are nice and caramelized. Ooh, they smell so good too. All right, then I'm going to turn it off and pick out the mushrooms. And I have about 2 tablespoons of the sauce here left. I'm just going to pour it into the noodles, which I've drained. And then I'm going to take some tongs and just kind of like mix them up. Now, don't forget to drain the noodles. You don't want that sauce going in and getting depleted in all of that water. And so I'm just going to kind of like make sure that it gets on all of the noodles and we get that tastiness everywhere. Now we're going to start with the wrappers. I'm going to take a wrapper and put it in a little bit of warm water in a bowl. And you don't have to even put it in there too long. Just make sure that it's nice and saturated on both sides. This one, I'm actually keeping this in there a little too long. It worked out just fine, but you don't have to wait until it gets soggy in the bowl. It will actually seep through if you just make sure that both sides get nice and wet. So you can lay them down however you want. You can stick all of your things in here. I'm going to put the lettuce down, and I'm going to put some cucumbers and my carrots. Now, you could add shrimp to this. You can do all kinds of things. You can use chicken. I mean, my goodness, you can do just, be real creative with this kind of thing. I'm going to lay some mushrooms in there. Now, the mushrooms are really flavorful. Remember all the soy sauce that went into them? So you just need a little bit of them. I'm going to put a fork full of noodles in there. I'm going to lay my avocado on top with all of the herbs. And if you don't like mint, leave the mint out. If you want mint, but not so much, just put a little bit in. If you love basil, stick a bunch of basil in there. I happen to love cilantro with something like this. And so here go the avocados. I'm going to lift up one side and the other and just fold them in. And then I'm going to grab, and you have to be real careful with this at first, but it's not that hard. If you haven't done this before, it's not that hard. So I'm just going to tuck this in here and then just pull it up like this. And it just sticks. It'll just stick together. Isn't that pretty? I just thought that was the prettiest thing. So here's all my rolls. Let's make the sauce. All right, we're going to use a 1/4 cup of water and more if you want a little bit more watery. We're going to use half of an orange, the juice from it, and a whole lime, the juice from it, and a little bit of the zest, a 1/2 cup of the raw almond butter, a 1/2 teaspoon of minced ginger, 1 teaspoon of the maple syrup, a 1/2 teaspoon of chopped garlic, and then a 1/2 teaspoon of tamari or soy sauce. And you can use some red pepper flakes. I did not. I'm not doing spicy right now. So I put everything in this baby bullet. And why don't I have a big boy bullet? Because I'm waiting for this to die, but it doesn't. I've had it for 14 years and it works great. So that's why I'm still using this happy face little baby bullet when I just have a little bit of stuff to blend. And this works absolutely wonderful. Here's the rest of it. As you can see, still got the baby bullet intact. So after I blended it, look at this wonderful, wonderful sauce. I cannot tell you how flavorful this is. Oh, it's just, I have to find things to put this in because it is so good. This sauce is just the bomb. Now I'm going to set it up in a plate here and have Honey try it, and then I will report to you and let you know what he thought of it. I can already tell I'm going to love this like I have in the past. Okay, so that's my recipe. I wanted to share it with you guys. I wanted to report Honey tried it and he absolutely loved them. He and I both had 3 of them for dinner, and they were just so fresh, and there's so many aromatics that are in it. It was just a real delicacy to sit and share these together. So we really love them. Another thing I thought about while I was having them was I could make them up earlier in the week and then just maybe like take them for lunch during the week, or have them for a nice snack too. And that's also a really great idea. So anyway, thanks for sharing this time with me. Put this recipe in a playlist, and then when you feel like cooking together, bring it out and let's spend some time. Take care. I'll see you in the next video.